What I'm going to ask you is, does anybody in here ski? We have a professional skier in our midst. I'm not telling who yet. Not telling who. And does anybody here ever go see the Braves play?
Oh, yeah.
The Dodgers.
Every game.
Well,
I'm on the front row.
See, look.
so we have one person here who fits both of those things and much, much more. He was a professional skier. He is the face of the Braves, as well as the face of Peachtree TV, and it's my honor and pleasure to introduce my good friend, Jeff Johnson, JJ.
Thank y'all very, very much. I mean, after something like that, gotta ring the bell, right? But my name is Jeff Johnson, hence the J and the J with JJ. And yeah, I mean, you know, that's it. And it's so wild. This morning, I was getting ready for, you know, to leave the house and to come down here to talk to you guys. Actually, go to work first, then talk to you guys, because you know our offices are just right down 10th Street, just right down the way. And my mother, who surprised me last weekend by, I was sitting on my front porch, having a cup of coffee, just chilling, about 7:30 in the morning on Saturday, and all of a sudden I see this car coming down the road. And you know, I was kind of like, what's this car coming down, creeping down the road like that? And all of a sudden, I noticed that my mother and my brother decided to come and have breakfast with us from Charlotte. How not? Oh, I like that too. That's exactly what I did. I said, Mom, what's up? She said she wanted to come down. So what we did, we've been having the best time. But it's just been this wonderful, wonderful week for me. And this coming here today is another one of those opportunities. I truly enjoy being able to come out and meeting new people, and especially y'all, because you have got all the potential in the world. Y'all get ready to get out there in the world. Y'all already taxpayers, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I know. Well, don't worry. You're going to be taxpayers for a long time if everything keeps going in the way. But y'all are right at the beginning of your career. You're right at the beginning of your life. You're right at the beginning of what you do. I know I've been involved in radio TV for a long, long time. My first job was at a radio station in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yay! Called it was WGIV. It was a black radio station, but a great radio station, which is still you know, out there spinning tunes, doing everything. And my first job, I was a gopher. Anybody know what a gopher is? Yes. Who? A gopher. A gopher. What?
Just pop up.
Almost. What do you think a gopher is? Daggum right. I went and got the coffee, like the DJ said, man, I need this album. I would go for the album. If something was spilled, I would go for the mop. But it allowed me to find out if this is what I really wanted to do. And I think particularly at y'all's age, there's a lot of things that are going around in y'all's head. Okay, how can I get out of high school? Supposed to get into a college. What in the world am I going to do? Who am I? Who I'm is? Who am I? Who I'm is? And it's crazy, isn't it? But let me tell you, it's not as hard as it sounds. You will find your way. It's inevitable. But at least you've got to have some place to start. And hopefully you've started to do that already through some of the skills that you might already have. You know, I was talking, who was it that was, you want to do TV? You know, there's all these different things that you could do, but the main thing is starting somewhere, is giving yourself the opportunity to be the best that you can be at all given times, at any time, all day. You know, there's an old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Think about that. What are you going to do today that's going to allow you to become the person you want to be tomorrow? It can be as simple as somebody saying to you, hey, would you get up and read this book to the class? It can be as different as being able to do the announcements to all of the different folks at the school. You can turn around this way. Turn around here, guys. Okay? It's as different as what I just did right there. All I did was walk back to the back. You know, and now y'all are looking back here. Guess what? The view's different, isn't it? Change comes at all given times in all different places. Never be afraid of it. Embrace it. Use it. Use it to your advantage. I talk about that an awful lot. You know, again, I started when I was 12 years old, to 12, 13 years old in radio. Got an internship at a TV station as well in Charlotte, started in radio TV. But let me tell you about the first real experience that I've had with all this nonsense, right? The first experience I had, see, y'all don't remember the Sears catalog. How many of y'all remember the Sears catalog? Seriously now, y'all know the Sears catalog with the pages in it. Well, let me tell you, when I was growing up, that's how you got your Christmas. You would go, man, me and my brother, boy, we used to sit and look at that Sears catalog. I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that, I'm going to get that. Well, my mother worked at Sears. And one day they came down to all the employees and said, we need to have some employees' children be in the Sears catalog. And y'all kind of know where I'm going with this story. So my mom, Miss Mary, she said, oh, my son can do it. And I was like, yeah, I'll sure do it. And you know, I mean, look at me. I played football in college, high school, college. You know, I'm a big guy. And so they instantly put me in, you know, I had on kids' clothes, but of course it was in the husky size. You know, I was husky, robust, you know. I had my little corduroys on and a plaid jacket, and the first thing they did was put a football in my head. That was my thing, just like that. It was kind of cool. But it was the first time that I'd ever been in, like, all the lights and the cameras and people going, would you like something to drink? Do you want some more cookies? I was going, yeah, I want some more cookies. That's cool. Yeah, feed me, feed the beast, right? But it made me feel and it made me see that, wow, I have an affinity for this. I have a passion for this kind of stuff. I talk about passion an awful lot because passion is what drives us. A passion for something. Found out about this young lady's passion for the horses. Obviously, because she worked in the summer camp. Passion for TV. Who in here sings? Oh, yeah, okay. Sing. See, passion for singing. Art. Any artists in here? Right on. Passion for drawing. There we go. You know, regardless of what your passion is, explore it. Get out there and do as much as you can. It's amazing the things that this world needs that it hasn't even seen yet because y'all haven't done it yet. You know, I go out to a lot of schools. I was at Benteen Elementary School yesterday with a bunch of little ones. Oh, man. Those little kindergartners, they are the best. Because one of them, you know, because they ask questions that are a lot. I don't want to say they're, even though they're not as deep as what you would say, they are so right on point. Like I was in there just yakking loud and moving all over the place. And then one little girl, she said, are you a preacher? And first I just wanted to grab her little face and just rub her little face. But, you know, and then I had to answer her correctly. And I said, you know, I'm not really like a religious preacher, but I do preach. I preach about community. I preach about fun. I preach about all these other kind of things. Screen on the green. That's right. Flick or treat. Anything that comes on Peachtree TV. That's what we do. So, you know, in anything you do, find that passion. Find the thing that makes you just burn with wanting to do it all the time. And then it won't be a job because it just becomes who you are. I am a firm believer in being yourself. You know, one of the things I got to admit, you know, I got my college educations and all those things and the intelligence, you know, all that stuff. But, you know, I try to be who I am. That's Jeff Johnson. That's JJ. You will all, when you see me here, if you see me on the street, same thing. See me on TV, same nonsense. And the reason I do that is because it's easy for me. I don't forget. For instance, if I'm one way to you, then I'm one way to you in the back. You know, I always say, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm going to forget one of these days because I am kind of scatterbrained. You know, I have ADD. And I'll forget because I'll be thinking about something else. And if you're one way to one person and one way to another person at different times, you might get dealt with, if you know what I mean. somebody will go, man, that guy is just a big, fat phony. So always try your best to be who you are at all times. And I know that's difficult because sometimes you feel like, oh, I got to be this one way to somebody else. But when you get into the real world, into the job world, being yourself means everything. People, the world has changed a lot. And especially the job world, trying to go out there and get that career. It's changed, to me, to where we need uniqueness. We need y'all not to be that cookie cutter, and I don't want to say Stepford Wives type thing, but all go down the line. We need some flavor. We need y'all to do what you do. So I hope you will take that to heart and think about it a little bit. There's so many parts of life and things that I always try to do, and I'm going to kind of wrap it up because I know we're going to be doing some questions.
Yep.
Because I want to get y'all's questions. That's where I love to interact. But let me just leave you kind of around this thought that I've talked about already: doing your best, being your best, finding your passion, going out being who you are. But remember one thing: being in service to others is a wonderful thing. Giving of yourself means everything. When you can go out and give to somebody unconditionally, where nothing's coming back to you, that's the true gift of giving. And in this day and age, y'all know the drill. Man, I go down and help out at Hosea Feeds the Hungry and Homeless a lot. And you'd be surprised. I go down there, and at 6:30, there are already people standing in line because they don't have anything. There are kids out there that don't have beds to sleep in and all this stuff. I mean, y'all know the drill. Find something that you can do to give back. Folks, we need y'all. We need you to help save this planet and this world. And I know that it's in this room. So let's just open it up to questions. I didn't talk a lot about Peachtree TV, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about TV, media, because gosh, man, there's just so much to talk about. The different medias, the different mediums that you can use to get your message out, your passion out. But Liz, you go ahead and if you need to answer some questions.
So you said you started at 13.
Right.
And you talked about the Sears catalog.
Correct.
And you had a little bit of an opportunity. Was there one moment when you had an epiphany and said, this is who I want to be? Were there many moments? What was it? When did you know you were going to be JJ?
Well, there were a lot of moments. One moment was when one of the DJs from WGIV came to my school. She was a lady who I truly respect. She's still alive right now. Her name, her name is Hattie Leeper. That's her given name. But everybody back then, and people now still have radio names. Like one guy back in the day, his name was Chucky Boo Boo Barron. Chucky Boo Boo Barron had a deep voice like that. Boo Boo Barron. Now, her name was Chatty Hattie. Chatty Hattie. But she came to my school just like this. And she talked to us about radio, television, and how if you liked to listen to music, you could do all these things. And that was kind of a turning point in my life. To kind of say, let me look at this. Let me see what this can do for me. And from that moment on, I was kind of focused in. I was lucky enough to go to a high school that had an incredible radio TV department, just like you guys have got a great media department down there, where y'all are producing your own shows and different things. I mean, it's award-winning, as a matter of fact. So if you get the opportunity to take advantage of that stuff right now, do it. Because that's something you can use on your resume. I mean, really, if you think, oh, yeah, I'm going to go take part in this little newscast and everything, man, that's experience that is used on your resume. And let me just tell you, from a person who hires people, who looks at that, experience, and having those things together means everything.
Did you ever see Chatty Hattie again?
Yes, quite a bit. And whenever I go to Charlotte, whenever we can, and when I see her, it's, she knows how I feel. She knows, where I'm going. And it's kind of neat because she's like, look at you. Look at you. You're just doing all this stuff. You're on TV doing movies and flying here and going there. She's like, I'm just glad you did. So it was really nice. It's nice to live up to my standards, but also when other people that helped you along the way realize that they helped you, boy, they feel good too.
So what would you recommend to everybody in here if you're a speaker today, you're awesome, We're very lucky. You know I think you're awesome. And we're really lucky because we've had pretty great people come in and speak. So if I'm sitting in the audience as a student and I see someone and I think, that's who I want to be one day, that's what I want to do, what would be my next step?
You know, short of becoming a stalker, you know what I mean? Like you see somebody, you're like, oh, I need to be like them. You just creeping all up on them on the internet or whatever else. Find out about what they do. You know, you can go to our PeachTreeTV.com, find out a little bit more about me. My bio's up there. You know, because there's a lot of things to do, but just, I think to emulate what the people that are successful and, you know, do some of the things that they do, find out about them in a non-creepy way. and ask questions of not only of them, you know, there's nothing, one of the things that I believe in is information sharing is free. You know, people come to me all the time and they can't believe that I'd actually sit down and talk to them about what's going on in their life or their ideas or email back and forth. But I do, because guess what? I learn a lot from that. I learn things that I never would have known. And what happens is, you know, the knowledge that I have is a great thing to give. So never be afraid to ask questions. I think sometimes we see successful people and we become in awe, because in Atlanta you see them all the time. You know, musicians and people on TV. Let me tell you something. Some of these musicians and people on TV are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. I'll just be honest. From the standpoint of this, they're people too. They're just like you. Why can't, the only things that they've done is that they have succeeded in something where they have that talent. But does that make them a good person? That's up to you and how they relate to you. You know, I don't mind coming up and talking to people. There are some people that don't want to talk to people. I feel sorry for them.
So I'm going to just go back a little bit. So you said ask questions, ask them questions, and
Right.
I love that.
Right.
So, and don't be a stalker. What would be the way to get to somebody so you can ask them questions?
Email. If you're in a situation where it is, you know, a question and answer thing like this, or, you know, that's a possibility. But a lot of times it's just by happenstance. You know, you'll be standing in line at Mackie D's or at Moe's or, you know, at I don't know, Borders Books or wherever you are, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, that's somebody over there. Prime example. I'm at Better Baseball with my son. Better Baseball is this place where you get baseball stuff. We're a big baseball family. My son plays. He's 14. He's at North Atlanta. Sorry. Y'all beat us to death in football this year. Good gracious. But, you know, we're sitting in there and we were kind of getting his catcher stuff, and in walks Davey Lopez. I mean, Javi Lopez. You remember Javi? Javier Lopez, one of the greatest catchers of all time. Big time Brave. And so I'm sitting there, and my inclination, you know, I don't have any problem walking up to Mr. Lopez. Hey, Mr. Lopez. I said, Will, because my son's a catcher. He's a big time catcher. He plays a lot of baseball. I said, Will, you know who that is? He said, yeah. I said, what you gonna do? He said, you wanna go meet him? No. You know, he was literally physically backing away. I said, do you think he's gonna bite you? He's not gonna do anything. And what I've always taught him is, if you show respect first, you usually get respect back. You've got to do that, because the way somebody proves to me that they have respect for you is how they treat you from that initial time. If they come up to you, you go up to them and say, please excuse me, but I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Johnson, and I truly enjoy your playing and all that stuff. And then, you know, you don't go on and on, but you kind of cut it off there and then wait to see what happens. So eventually he did. He went up and he did that. But if you have that opportunity, be respectful. Be respectful of their space. So many times people will come up to me. You know, me, I don't mind too much when I'm out at a restaurant or something like that and somebody comes up. Because, listen, if it wasn't for people watching me and you guys, I mean, I'd still be Jeff, but it would be different. It wouldn't be the same thing. We make people, to an extent, who they are when it comes to those things. We really do. So never feel bad about going up to somebody if you like them, because you've helped to make them who they are. I mean, because think about it. I got a mortgage, I got car notes, I pay bills just like everybody else does. You know, we're all human. When you strip away the stature, the fame, and everything else, I'm just a man. That's it. But
a special man.
But a special man, and a man that has faith. You know, one of my major mottos is faith, family, and friends. Keep it simple.
And that's consistent, right, with what Phil said last week. He said the same thing about what are your priorities, and his family comes first. And it actually makes him better at work, he said. And Jeff, I think, would you say that that's also how you are, that family, it's all about family?
I'm telling you what, you know, my wife, my son, they're everything. They're everything. Every morning I get up, that's who I work for. You know, even though I am under the employ of Turner Broadcasting, I don't work for them. I work for me and my family. Just, you know, they're lucky, and I don't want to make this sound conceited or anything, but, you know, think about this. You need to work for yourself. You're your own corporation. You are. Everybody should incorporate themselves. Jeff Johnson Enterprises Incorporated. I have my own company. But you work for yourself, and the companies that decide to bring you on underemployed recognize that, and think about it. You help to make them. Now, of course, there's a give and take. I mean, they also, you know, give you a little money on the side to do your job, and you better do it well to keep that up. But keep in mind, you are your own corporation. You are your own business. You are your own brand. What's it going to be? My daddy always said, my dad wouldn't say, what's it going to be? I'd always go to him and I'd ask him stuff about, you know, I have something in my head. I've got a deep voice, but my dad, Big Charles, he's got a deep voice. He talks like this all the time. And he doesn't talk a lot. I got all this from my mom, right? But Dad, he's man of a few words, but he would go, well, what you going to do, son? That's why I came to you. I need some help. You know, but that's my boy, though. But him challenging me like that always got me back on track. And I love him to death. He's a good man. So.
Have you ever, and you said be yourself, and I couldn't agree more. And have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were being asked at work to not be yourself? And if so, how did you handle that?
That's a good question.
I wrote it myself. Thank you.
You're good.
I wrote it while I was thinking right now.
But her question, y'all get her question, right?
Yeah.
I think at one time in my life, when I just started at a television station in Charlotte, they wanted me as the public affairs director, you know, to come in every day with a suit and a tie and, you know, all that stuff. And not necessarily, it's not that they didn't want me to be that, but I'm not a tie guy. You know, I'm not a suit and tie guy. And it was a little bit difficult. And the way I handled it was, you know, I came in for a while like that, but I kept on showing them who I was when we went out to different events within the company where we were. Kept saying, God, you know, this is who I am. But I'm like, you know, I can do this suit and tie thing, but you're still going to get JJ. And he's even better when he doesn't have on a tie. So that's kind of how I handle it.
So you really did, you went with it. At the same time, you eased them into, but this is really who I am, and this is who I'm going to be.
Yeah, I think it's
you kept your soul intact.
I kept my soul. And that's something that you guys are going to be dealing with when you go out in the real world. People are going to ask you to do things that might go a little bit against the grain of who you are. And I'm not saying that you don't do it, but you know, you have to remember who you are, what your character, you know, the character that you have, and realize sometimes you got to bite the bullet, you know, suck it up a little bit, go with it, but eventually, if you keep striving and you keep pushing, you'll get to the point that you need to be. It doesn't come easy. It's good to have those lofty goals, but remember, when you were a little baby, you didn't walk straight out the womb. You kind of crawled a little bit. Then Finally, you toddled up, you waddling around, and then you walked. Then you started running. Now you hadn't stopped yet.
So you're in here and you're giving a lot of great lessons.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here, you can't see it, but in my head I'm just shaking vigorously
she does.
because I teach this stuff and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's saying it, it's great. And a lot of people are coming in here and telling you similar messages. So this is helpful.
Thank you.
When we were growing up, we didn't necessarily have this. Did you have a mentor?
I had a number of mentors. And it ranged all the way from teachers, my neighbors in the neighborhood. I believe that it does take a village to raise a child. And for me, it did. Because, I mean, for instance, one day, me, Fat Boy Perez, and another boy were under my house smoking cigars. We were young boys, okay? Mrs. Abel, Perez's and Fat Boy's mama, came back to bring a pie pan or something back to our house, and she came around the back way down the thing, and she smelled the smoke come out. Y'all, first off, she got a switch and whipped all of us herself. Then she told my grandmother, who was upstairs, that she gave us some. Then you know, my dad came back home and I got some from him, 3 in one day. But what happened was, I had people that I knew when I walked around my neighborhood, they were looking out at me. They were challenging me to be my best. They weren't going to let me just slip by. So, you know, if you have that in your life, I'm so happy for you. But yeah, you know, it's very important that people out there, you know, you look after people. Bring young people up. If you got little kids that you around, be that example. You know, I have another little saying. I'll say, be what you want to see. If you want to see that out of that child, out of your little brother, out of your friends, then you be it first. I'm a major believer in leading by example.
Barry, don't you have who has a little sister? You do. So does this make sense? Does this make sense about?
You know what I mean? And they can be, they can be irritating because I got a little brother.
She's 5. How old? 5.
Oh, I remember me and my brother Tim. Oh, we used to battle. Oh man, it was a trip. But I tell you, he's has always been and will continue to be my best friend. That's my boy. And you know, you live and you learn, and you learn that you can be just as stupid too, as an old person. You know?
So we talked about passion. You talked about passion, following your passion, and it seems to me, I think, you also had a passion for skiing. Because you did professional skiing. So what do you do when you have a couple passions?
Oh, that's a trip. Because first off, can y'all imagine this round mound of rebound coming down the slope? I mean, let me tell you, it was a trip. I went to Appalachian State University and in Boone, North Carolina. There were a number of ski resorts around. I learned how to ski. My first experience on skis, some friends of mine in the dorm said, man, come on, we're going to go skiing. What do you think I said to him? No. No? What?
Absolutely, let's go.
No. Right, but I said it from a black perspective. I said, man, black people don't ski. You know what I mean? Y'all know that's right. Black people don't ski. I like snow. I wasn't scared of snow, but I ain't never seen a black person out on the slope. So he said, and you know, at that particular point, first thing they said was, man, you better get your behind up and come on. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go up there and have a good time. So I'm literally on the bunny slope, y'all. I'm on the bunny slope. I'm flailing about, man. My boys had already left me because they said, man, we're gonna leave you down here. And I was just flailing around, and literally a 6-year-old boy. He was coming down the slope, and the bunny slopes aren't that steep. But to me, I thought it was like Mount Everest. It was, because I was slipping and falling. He came down, he skied down where I was, and literally skied a circle around me. Stopped while I was laying on the ground. I saw his little face upside down. You know how when you're laying on your back and his little face is upside down? And he said, mister, do you need some help? And I said, if I could get up, I would. But, and you know what? It was something at that moment that defined, I said, if he can do it, I can do it. And I did ask him, I said, how do you get up? And he said, watch this. He flopped down on his stomach, and the way you do it, you flop down on your stomach, come up to your knees, and then you just walk yourself up. And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, now I'm ready. Because at least I could get up. And then I said, how do you stop? He said, you put your skis like this, and you push. And so once I could get up and stop, rest is history. I taught skiing for Frenchwood Ski College and up at Appalachian Ski Mountain.
Amazing.
My home mountain is a very small one, but that led to a lot of racing because the only thing to get the thrill out of it, I mean, I like going fast. I've raced all over the United States and Canada. My specialties were slalom and giant slalom, and I was part owner of the U.S. Pro Ski Series, and I really got into it, and it was a wonderful thing because I was able to help a lot of other people, not black, white, Hispanic, Oriental, learn to ski and enjoy it. And on the race circuit, I had a number of nicknames. One of my favorites is Hot Chocolate. That was a good one. Chocolate Thunder. Let me think some other ones. I think those are the two that always were my favorites. But man, but it was always a trip, because I would get in the gate, and if it was a dual slalom where you'd have two slalom courses, I remember once we were up in Michigan, and I get into the gate, and this other guy gets into the gate, and he's a white gentleman, and I'm kind of bloom, I'm getting all in the gate, and I could tell by the look on his eye, he's like, yeah, this is gonna be easy. And I just kind of went, and I looked over and went, hey man, how you doing? I was like, hey, you ready? Let's go, we ready? He ain't never seen nothing like that before. Brother all up in there, on his grill, ready to go. We hit it. I beat that guy by 3 gates. I came in second that day. Won about $1,500. But what happens is, people go, wow, that guy can really ski. Another example was out in Park City, Utah, with my son, who you saw up there, who's a great skier as well. And it was 2005 at the NASTAR National Championships. It's an amateur race. I placed 4th in my age group, and he placed 4th in his age group. And I can't remember how old he was at the time, but we were, after the awards, he comes back and goes, well, Dad, who's the champion of the family? So, my competitive juices come up, and I go, well, we can have a race tomorrow, young man. What are we racing for? Snicker bar. Good. Shook hands. So he gets in the gate, he makes his run. And I gave him about a 7 or 8 second cushion. A lead, like, okay, if he beat me within that 8 seconds or got him within that, then he would be, God, I did not mean that. Then he would win. He'd get a Snicker bar. Well, I take off out of the gate. I get 3 gates into the course, catch a tip, and snap my tibia, my leg right there, right above the plateau. And I'm telling you, I've fallen many times. I've gone over 100 miles an hour on skis, but that was a trip. And that was one of the first times I've ever really gotten hurt. But skiing is such a wonderful thing if you ever get the opportunity. Not only skiing, snowboarding, just being out up in the mountains in the winter where it's cool, because they do have fires, and y'all can go inside, but it's a lot of fun. You can be goofy, you can be exciting and fearful and all those things, but you can also be brilliant, you can also be intellectual, you can also be insightful, and dadgummit, you should be. You should be. You should be well-read, you should be well-versed, you should be versed in the arts and the sciences, in all of those things. Because I'm telling you, having that working knowledge of a lot of stuff can get you a lot of places.
Sorry.
No, and that's it. I mean, because think about it. You go and you're talking to somebody, and you're trying to get a job, and you're sitting down at a dinner or a lunch with them, and and I've done this so many times before. It helps to break the ice. I'll sit there with somebody, and we'll get to talking, and I'll mention something about skiing, or I'll mention something that I had no idea that they are, and they go, "Oh, you ski, man, done deal." Say, have y'all ever seen that Mr. Sushi, the Mr. Sushi stapler commercial? The one where the guy's trying to sell him the 10,000? That's one of my favorite commercials. 2 different approaches on selling that Mr. Sushi thing, but my boy who's standing there being creative, talking to, connecting with that buyer. He sells them just like that. He's a winner, winner. That kind of thing. Sorry.
So what makes you unique?
Zest for life. I love life. I love it. Thank you.
Would that be your brand? Live, love, life?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a major part of it. I think being an active participant every day that you get up, that you're blessed enough to get up every day is a huge deal. And when you're out in the world, not being shy. Another example, like whenever I go to like some of the big cities, when you go to New York, people always say, "Whoa, people in New York are just crazy. They don't want to talk to you. Don't want to look at you." That's true too. But I would tell you what happens a lot of time with me is I'll go up there, and I say hello to people just on the street. Hey, how you doing? Now sometimes people don't respond, but New York, it's a trip to see the responses, even here that you get, because you'll go up, I'll go, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm just walking down and say, "Hey, how are you? How are you?" And they go like, "Man, yeah, what are you doing talking to me?" I've actually, look, that's exactly, listen, I've heard that. Somebody say, "Fool, what you want?" I say, "Man, I just said good morning." And it's amazing how many times, though, that they come back to me and go, "Thanks for saying that. Yeah, I appreciate it." Because, yeah, it helps your day. It affirms that you are alive. I'm just trying to say, I know you. Hey, I see you coming down the street.
So there's a word I use, and I reserve it for very special people, and I told this to Jeff the other day, and I consider you a day maker. Yes. And what I want to know, did everyone, when I say a day maker, do you understand what I mean? That he makes everybody's day. He brings joy.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
not
Thank you.
every
I am very
day
blessed.
can be great.
No.
What do you do? What gives you the ability to continue to be the day maker for everybody else, even when it's a hard day for you?
For me, I think just the thought of that my condition at that particular time should not bring anybody else down. Why should what's going on in my life infect and kind of bring everybody else that I come in contact down? It's much easier for me to compartmentalize those things that I'm dealing with, and again, deal with them when I get home in private. Okay. With my wife, my partner, that I can say to her, I'm kind of feeling like this. And see, I'm going to tell you, having someone that you can talk to, it means so much. Having somebody that you can be honest, be yourself. This ain't, this is just JJ, and I'm going to say, "Honey, I just feel a little this." And when they unconditionally want to know why. They don't care if it's what it is. They just want to help. They just want to be a part of it. That's always great to have. Good question. There is a way you can do that, and there is a website, turnerjobs.com. You can go there, look at the internship program. Let me tell you, a major change has come to our internship programs this year. You need to know this too. We have to pay our interns. What? Can I get a what? Because, sorry. Because at first, it was a situation where, you were getting the hours. Like, say, if you're in college, you get the credits. But Turner has decided, we are able to do that for our interns, which is a great thing. So I would go there to look and to see what the process is. Now, I don't know if we do a lot of stuff with high school students yet. Mostly it's college students that we deal with. But at least you've got those options, okay? But if you are interested, and here's whatever you decide to go into in life, find out about that particular occupation, that particular trade, that particular thing that you like. Find out about it. Go to people who are doing it and ask them. Here's a great way to break the ice. Y'all are all handsome and beautiful and smart. You go up to them. You go up to them, to somebody that is in that trade, and you go, "Hi, my name is such and such, and I'm just looking for some direction." And here's the reason why. It's not where you're coming up going, "Hi, my name is such and such, and I want a job." instantly that puts up a wall with me. Well, not with me, but other folks, because they're going, oh gosh, I don't have a job. I got to figure out how to get this person, away. But when you come and you go, look, I'm just looking for some direction. I'm looking for some information. Now, what you've done is you've played to their ego. You let them know you think they're pretty smart. And that's good. When you let somebody know they're smart, they're like, well, let me tell you. You know what I mean? I'm serious. And
Notice what a great job he's doing today, because I've been telling him he's so good.
But it's non-threatening. It's very non-threatening. So when y'all go out and you've got to go and talk to people, whatever, use that track. Say, hey, listen, my name is such from Grady High School, and I'm looking for some direction in this. And you can say, I'd just like to find out more about what you do because I'm interested in doing that myself. And who knows? In turn, do things for free. If you know a way that you can get involved at a radio station or a television station or a studio or whatever, do it for free. Say, I'll volunteer my time. Because the great thing is, I don't know how many of you have jobs. I had jobs in high school. But, at this point in your life, y'all should be living it up. This is great. Y'all really have a lot of bills. You don't have a lot of things going on. Utilize this time for yourself. Don't y'all have to have a certain amount of hours for yeah. Utilize this time for that kind of stuff too. So, yes. But that's what I would do. I would network as much as possible and talk to people as much as I could. Doing it in a way that is not threatening and, that kind of thing. Yes, sir.
What was your major in college?
My major in college was broadcast journalism. I got an undergrad degree at Appalachian State. I completed grad studies at University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And, like I said, I'd already been involved in radio TV for a long time. I mean, when I went into doing my stuff on the radio, I knew a lot more than some of the professors did, than most of the professors did, because I was actively in it. I learned more about theory and different things like that from them, but it's interesting. It was very interesting, but that's where I went to school.
What was your push to be where you are?
I think my push was, it was always internally driven. I didn't necessarily want to go out and become a star. I do believe in the medium and the mediums. I do believe in the power for them to do good. I'm a firm believer that television, radio, digital stuff, all those things, they have a place. It's how we use them and how we're able to have access to them. So many times, and I'm a TV baby, y'all. Let me tell you, I love TV. Television on. I love it. I used to come home from football practice. I would get my pack of Ritz crackers, jar of peanut butter, and jelly, and I'd make peanut butter and jelly crackers and watch the Three Stooges, all the different cartoons, Tom and Jerry. I was like, back in the day, that's all we had. Like when I was coming up, y'all, we only had 4 channels. Dig that. And it was, and
no cable.
And no cable whatsoever. Y'all, the remote, y'all got remotes now? Guess who was the remote? Me and my brother. Charles would say, go turn that TV. I'd walk, turn the TV to a channel, and I'd come back. I was the remote. Me and my brother were the remotes. So, the technology has come such a long way. Guys, I got a computer in my pocket. You know what I mean? Look at this. This thing takes pictures and video. I can access the internet. Good Lord. Just touching it. And like my mother, it trips her out when I'll sit there and go, Mom, come over here, I want to show you something, and I'll bust out the iPad, right? And I'm doing all this stuff. She's like, I just don't know. I can't. And but she's from another era. But y'all are right, man. Y'all are way past the age of Aquarius. See, y'all. Do I travel? I do travel. No, lately I haven't been. I've been mainly staying around Atlanta. Atlanta is the #8 media market in the country. So when you're talking about the big time, this is a big place to be. You got New York, LA, all those places, but actually we're going to be #7 real soon. And let me tell you, in terms of music, film, and all that stuff, digital entertainment, video game production, all that stuff, we're the Silicon Valley of the Southeast. This is where it's all happening right here, y'all. I'm telling you. It is truly amazing. So you've got a lot of opportunities here. But I don't travel as much as I used to, which I love. I like being able to go to my office, do my thing, ride around Atlanta, and go home. I'm a homebody. I love hanging out. I mean, when I was younger, I loved being able to go out, hey. But I tell you what, that can mess you up too. Y'all know, if you're trying to focus on something, you have to make a decision on what you want to do. Yes, sir.
At what point did you decide this is what I want to do?
I think the point was really one of those points was in high school when I was really involved in radio, TV, and actually made money off of it. And people said, you do a pretty good job. I was like, wow, really? And doing certain things. I was very involved in student. I was a student body president of my school. But I still had to pick up trays a lot because I was too loud. I was too chatty. Teachers are saying, and here I am, student body president. I'm picking up trays. But that just goes to show you, again, I'm just me, man. I'm just Jeff, ADD Jeff, bouncing all over the place, doing my thing. That's it.
I said I was grateful before. I'm even more grateful. This was really, it was great. Thank you so
I
much.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Y'all, I have enjoyed. Thank y'all very, very